heart. And I'm gonna move this real quick and show you the pieces that we're gonna use. This is my bucket au glace. I have a separate bucket for all of my major colors of vase glass. Now this isn't crushed glass. This is like busted vases and stuff. You can see that here's a neck, like the neck to one. But this is all busted vase glass, and I keep it all separated by color so that when I want pink or when I want blue, I can just go to that one bucket. Oh yeah, I'm Central Time now, that's right. So I went to my pink buckets and I pulled out a bunch of pink, and I kind of cheated because, you know, it would have taken us a lot longer to figure it out, but I kind of cheated and went ahead and laid out some pieces that we're going to use. Now this is going to be super three-dimensional. Hey Debbie, hey Dee, hey Jennifer. So this is going to be super dimensional because we're going to be using all these different shapes. And I'm not even going to try to manipulate any of them at all. I'm just going to use them as I pulled them out of my little pink bucket. So this, yes, thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate all sprinkling of this live. Normally I give away a little something for sprinkling, and I'm trying not to say any of the bad words so I don't get in trouble with the Facebook. But but I normally give this away, but we are going to be giving this to Miss Rima's friend. So that's going to be our giveaway. So yeah, this is all like hot pink glass. So what I've done on my canvas, I don't know, you can't really tell because it's a very, very pale pink. So all I've done is taken the metallic pearl or metallic white from Hobby Lobby. So it's kind of a pearlescent color, and I completely covered my canvas with the pearl. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Thank you, sprinklers. And then I've taken just some Valspar sample paint. You know, when you go to Lowe's and you see the whole section of all different little colors. This is a color I found at Valspar or at Lowe's that I liked. I always buy these when I like the color because they're like $3, and that's cheap as crap if you're going to be, you know, using this color. So this is actually called Baby Blush. So it's just a really pale pink. So what I did, oh, don't cry, Rima. So what I did is after I got my pearl on, my metallic white, while it was still wet, I just dipped my palette knife into the pink and just smeared a little bit into the pearl so that it just has a little highlight of pearl and pink randomly. Yes, Susan, you better bust up some glass. It's time to bust. Is it blurry? Is it me? I mean, may need to just be still a minute. Okay, so here's what I did next. After my background was dry, I came in with just a pink watercolor pencil, and I have a whole set of these because I like using them because it goes away. This is Valspar. It's made by Lowe's, and it's just those sample things that you can get right off the shelf. And this one is Anita's. Yes, it is therapeutic. So let me take a sip of my drink because my mouth is so dry. I've missed you all, Kelly. I've missed everybody. So what I did was take my little pink watercolor pencil, and you can't see because I've done it as light as I possibly can, but I've sketched a little heart using pink onto my canvas, and it's kind of lopsided. I don't really like a perfectly shaped heart. So mine is like high on the left and low on the right. I kind of like them to be a little lopsided or a little, you know, off center or not perfect. So all we're gonna do now is place this glass that I've already pre-picked out, and we may have to go in the bucket for more because I think this heart is a little different shape and it's a little bit bigger than this one is. And while we are working, I'm going to dust it off, because what I did was took all my little pieces and honed down the edges. So they're kind of dusty. So as I go, I am gonna be dusting those off. This is a 10 by 10 canvas, and it's that gallery wrapped from Michaels. So it's got a 1.5 inch edge. I love these canvases. Hey Kelly, I'm glad you missed me. I missed being here. Hey Kat, how are you, love? So Kat, Rima's here too. Say hi to Miss Rima. So what I'm gonna do is just start placing my glass from where I already picked it off back onto this canvas. And we're gonna be, when we go to resin, it's gonna be a little different. So I hope you'll stay tuned and watch that part, because we are gonna want to make sure that our resin gets underneath and in between all of our pieces. So we're gonna be doing resin a little bit different than normal. We're not just gonna be drizzling over the top. So let's make sure you hang on, or at least come back and watch that part. Hey Andy, glad to see you, sweetie. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I have some really curved, nice curved pieces on the outside edges, so I'm just gonna go ahead and start those. I'm gonna wipe that off so I don't have big old dusties. So I'm just gonna start placing my pieces. And I'm just layering right on top of each other. Nothing is perfect, nothing's gonna be perfect. You can see I'm not even nipping off any like funny pointy edges. Just working with it, whatever came out of the bucket, just like it came out. That's the fun part. You just don't even worry about any of that. Let's see. Don't worry about any of that, those funny edges. So we are going, I'm just gonna start placing, and I'll probably move things around a little bit as I go, just so I can make sure I have a nice formed heart. Let's get down to this little point on the end. From Alaska. You go, girl. What's the temperature in Alaska, Lacey? Woo, I'm a Southern girl. No Alaska for me. So I'm just gonna squeeze that under there. So we're just gonna try to keep to our heart shape and not worry about it too terrible much. Hey, Deborah from Houston. Running the mouse. We're not sad at all. Hey, AJ, how are you? So I'm just filling in with some glass pieces. I'm gonna overlap so that I make sure everything is covered nicely. I think I keep moving that one from one side to the next. I think I'm gonna move it down here because it's bugging me. So let's see what we got. It's so cold. I can just only imagine. Woo! Not any place I ever wanted to be. Are you guys in darkness or is it light there? Do you have regular hours or are you in dark mode? Does that make sense? I know you know what I'm talking about. So cold. Hey, Tracy. So I'm just taking, and these are all different. None of these pieces are, there are a couple pieces that are the same. They're all different colors of pink. None of them are perfectly cut. I'm not even trying. I've got like 5 or 6 different vases that I'm working with. So, don't be afraid to mix them up. Let's see, we'll bring this down here. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Stick this one in here. So cute. Let's see, I need something here. I'm gonna tuck that up under. Here we are. Fort Hood, Texas. Welcome, Marion from Fort Hood. Are you an Army brat? Is Fort Hood Army? Let's see. We're gonna stick this one Let me just find a spot. Now you know why I'm not making it look easy. I feel like I'm making a disaster. And this is why I went ahead and got a few pieces out ahead of time. Because once you get started, you just don't know what you're going to need. You know, it's like, that piece didn't quite work out. I'm going to need a different one. Hey, Teresa. How are you? Your favorite artist. You're so sweet. Hey, Patricia's from Florida. So I'm continuing to wipe off because remember, I honed down the edges with my stone. So I don't want all those dust particles in our piece. So I'm just cleaning them up a little bit. It's daylight now. Sunset's at 4:30 and we'll drop to 15 below. Oh no, sister. It's light for 20 hours. I can handle that. I can't handle it being dark, dark, dark all the time. No, no, no. Yeah, hoo-wee. Thank you to all you people who are here for the first time. We appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff this spring. Need some more pieces. I don't like these pieces. So I'm going to get my little bucket and see if I can find some more. Let's see what I have here. The ones I'm pulling from the bucket now are not honed. So I'm going to be super careful with those and not slice my finger off. But the ones that I had laid out on my canvas were honed. These that I'm stealing now are not. So I'm going to be super cautious and not... I'm going to try really hard not to slice my hand off right here live on the interweb. I'm going to tuck that in there. Just one more piece, I think. Yeah, these aren't, but the previous ones were. So I have to be really careful with these. So let's stick this one right there. And I think I need one more small one there. And I see from your point of view, I'm trying to figure out where that empty space is. Let's see. D, that means I have this stone and I actually left it outside on the back porch, or I would show it to you. It looks like just a little brick and mine is white. And so what you do, it's like a really hard granite stone. And what you do is use it to sand the edges of the glass so that they're not sharp. Because when you bust a vase, the edges are going to be super sharp. So what I do is I take my little stone and I just take it and sand those edges down so they're smooth and you are less apt to cut yourself on that busted edge. Now, in lieu of having a stone, you can just take your pieces out to the driveway, out to the sidewalk, and just rub the edges on the side of the curb on the concrete, and that will also do that trick. But a rubbing stone is only, I don't know, what is it, about $10, $12? So it's worth having for sure. I'm gonna move this. If you go to, Patricia, if you go to my website, artshattered.com, there is a tab that says My Favorite Links. And there's a link to purchase a stone from Amazon. And it's the one I like the best. So, or you could just go to Amazon and do a search for glass stone, or forget exactly what it's called. Hone something, sharping. There you go. There you go. There you go, Richard. Richard's the man. Okay, so I like this a lot. I like too that how do you like how it's different sizes? I like how it is like fatter on one side than the other. I have this really dark piece here and I have some lighter pieces here. I like the variety of all that. So we are literally done with this portion. I'm gonna I'm gonna grab a brush. Just make sure I don't have any of that sanding dust from the glass on my canvas. We don't want that there. And, so try to see where my blocks are. Oh my goodness, is that not pretty? I'm gonna flip it upside down or right side up so you can actually see what it looks like from the right perspective. So that is what we're working with. I love it. I love the variety. I love how it's stacked together. It looks really cute. And as we are adding our resin, we may add a little more glass. We'll have to wait and see. So I don't have my blocks up here yet. So I'm gonna have to find something to hold my canvas up. So I am going to use, and here's what I would normally do. I have wood blocks that I have, yes, it sure will, Christopher. Or that's Jean, isn't it? What I normally do is use blocks to raise my canvas up off my surface so that if we have any drips from our resin going over the edge, it won't glue our piece down to our substrate, to our table cover here. So I don't have my blocks up here yet. They're still downstairs at the bottom of the stairs. So I am going to use canvas. And I can use these because they're still covered in plastic, so the resin won't stick to that. So, yes, I am level. I did check that. So normally, and I don't know where my little baby level is either. I had to use a big level today. So normally, I will check to make sure it's level so that you're not leaning on one side or the other, because if you're not level and your canvas is tilted one way or the other, all your resin is going to flow downhill. So make sure you're level and that you have raised your, that's too much canvas, that you've raised your canvas off of, off your surface, off your table, okay? Your table needs protection. You want to raise it up and make sure it's nice and level. Okay, so I think that works. I really need to get my life together here. Yes, my neighbors are super sweet. Oh, oh yeah, my neighbors are already met them. They're really nice, and they probably wouldn't be surprised in the least if I went out there and started doing something crazy. Pretty sure, because the movers, when I moved here last month, the movers didn't show up till 11 o'clock at night, and they were moving all my stuff in till 1 a.m. So I'm sure I already broke the neighbors in already. So I'm going to put on my gloves because we're going to pour some resin on our little art piece. And then we're going to, when it's dry, we're going to ship it to Miss Rima so she can gift it to her friend who needs prayers. So I'm going to put my gloves on. And what I've done is I have a measuring cup. It is a 14-ounce measuring cup or 16-ounce measuring cup. And I'm gonna mix 4 ounces because I want to make sure. I have done a lot, but it seems like I haven't, because it's like every time I think I'm done opening boxes, you know, 4 more pop up out of the blue. So I'm gonna mix 4 ounces of resin, and I already poured 2 ounces of art resin hardener. And I had a brain fart. I've already poured 2 ounces of the hardener into my cup. So now I'm gonna pour 2 ounces of the resin. The art resin is a 50-50 mix. So you do 50% hardener, 50% resin. And so I'm gonna pour my other in very slowly because it's like molasses. You think it's right on, and then suddenly you've poured too much, and you do not want to do that. If you're new at pouring resin, I always recommend that you pour in 2 cups. So you would pour your hardener in 1 cup and your resin in the other, and then mix them together. So now we're going to mix. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to raise this up Well, I'm not because I can't see the comments anyway, so I'm going to leave it down so that I can see what you guys are talking about. So now's the time to ask me anything because we have to mix this for 3 minutes. We're going to mix it for 3 minutes and we're going to mix it kind of slow. We're not going to just whip it to death because that incorporates a lot of bubbles and we don't want a lot of bubbles. Especially when it's cold, when it's winter time, the bubbles pop up more often than when it's warm. So we're gonna mix slow, scraping our sides, scraping the bottom for 3 minutes, starting now. So if anybody have any questions, I'm so excited to be back. It's been a month since I've been live and I've really missed you guys and I was a little bit nervous. Today, when I knew I was going to be doing a live, I don't know why. I've done thousands of lives, but I haven't done one in so long that I was nervous. And I was like, what if nobody comes? Yes, Becky, I do have a not sorry necklace. Look. Not sorry. I sure do. I had put it on when I went to Rachel's business conference in Charleston, and I have not had it off since because guess what? I'm not sorry. Oh, that's awesome. Tell Ethan to keep on keeping on. Yes, I sure do, Becky. Love me some Rachel Hollis. So we're just going to keep mixing. Notice I'm mixing slow. I'm not beating it to death. I'm not trying to make, whipped cream or anything. We're just stirring. Did you? Was it awesome, Becky, or what? Oh, my goodness. Hey, Phyllis. Yes, Joanne, I know. I'm so excited too. So let me tell you, kind of give you a heads up about what's happening in the next few months. Just a brief overview. So all month, the rest of this month, I'm going to be trying to do at least 2 lives a week. So kind of watch for that. And I'm trying to figure out a way to let you guys know when I'm going live because Facebook doesn't want me to message you anymore and let you know. So we're going to work that out and figure that out. So I'm going to be doing 2 lives next month in February. I think, off the top of my head, I think it's going to be the week after Valentine's. We are going to do another 5-day challenge. That's a $10, there's a $10 fee for the 5-day challenge. No, Jean, it does not. The humidity does not affect it. The cold temperature does. So if it's really cold where you're pouring resin, you really need it to be at least 70 degrees. And if your resin is cold, you need to put it in a warm bath. Don't get water in your resin. You need to make sure the tops are on really nice and tight. And just put your containers in warm water for a few minutes so that it warms the resin up so it cures the way it should. But it really needs to be at least 70 degrees in your room, but humidity is not a factor. So we're going to be doing in February another 5-day challenge. And then in March, we're going to reopen boot camp for all you guys who are looking for that. Our boot camp is a 4-week beginners boot camp where we thank you, Rima, where we teach you all the things that you need to know to start making your own glass art pieces. It is a step-by-step, once a week you get a new tutorial, and it's a step-by-step video tutorial, and we have our own private Facebook page at all the good stuff. So yeah, we're gonna have a 5-day challenge in February. We're gonna do boot camp again in March. And I think it'll be the last time, maybe one more time that we have the same boot camp, and then we're going to change it up. And then in April, we are going to be opening the doors again to the Shattered Circle, which I'm super excited about. You guys know I love my Shattered Circle, people. So we're going to be opening the doors to that membership again in April after boot camp closes. So if you're a newbie, you really might want to consider taking the boot camp so that you learn all the basics before you join Arch or the Shattered Circle. So yeah, boot camp is super fun. Okay, so remember I told you we were going to do something a little bit different. We have our resin mixed and we have our pieces ready for resin. Sorry, I had a little hiccup or something. So here's what I'm going to do. I should have put my hair up, and I do not have a hair tie with me at all, but I am going to put on my apron real quick because I believe that I have a pair of jeans on that might be the only pair of pants I have that does not have resin on them. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put an apron on to see if I can keep that trend. So the Shattered Circle, Joanne, is our membership group where we do, sorry, I'm trying to scoot my chair up, where we do monthly workshops, and we do 2 workshops a month and lots of stuff in between. So we're going to be talking a lot about there. Hey, Tammy, we're going to be talking a lot about that soon. So just stay posted. Stay with us, and we're going to give you all the goods on that. And also, Joanne, you can go to the Art Shattered page and read everything you need to know about the Shattered Circle. It's a super fun group where we just make art all month. You got hooked on boot camp? Oh, that's okay, Catherine. You work at your own pace. That's the good thing about boot camp is you can do it when you want to do it. It's yours to keep forever. No time limit on boot camp. Okay, so we are going to, on your wooden kitchen floor. Oh no, Joanne. No, have you tried to scrape it up? Have you tried to like pick it up with a little pick or something? Oh, Phyllis, I totally am. As soon as I get, as soon as I get myself totally unpacked, I am going to be working on that. I got a lot of stuff that I want to do, so we're going to see what we can get done. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just start drizzling. I'm going to use just my popsicle stick, and I'm going to start drizzling on top of the glass. And then once I get it covered, about, most of it covered, I'm going to come back and we're going to just use our hands to manipulate and make sure there is resin underneath as well. So I'm actually going to, because you don't want anything not stuck down, because we have glass on top of glass on top of glass. We have a couple of pieces that haven't been honed, so we want to make sure we have lots of resin on those pieces. So I'm just going to start drizzling. Yes, I would love that. I want that so bad. I really wanted to do it while I was in Georgia because I had a lot more places, more space and, options to do it. But I think we can find something here in South Haven. I feel certain that we can make that happen. Well, that would be so much fun. So right now, guys, all I'm doing is drizzling resin on the top layer of this vase glass, okay? Want to get it covered pretty well. And going ahead and getting some resin on the top is going to help me keep everything straight once I start wiggling everything around. Because with it loose and unresined, it wants to flip-flop, but when it's got a little bit of resin on it, it'll kind of stay in place where I want it to. Becky, I moved from Georgia to my old hometown of South Haven, Mississippi. Mississippi is my hometown. It's where my mom lives. It's where my kids live. So I just moved here the week before Christmas. So it's been crazy pants. Yes, crazy, crazy. So we're almost done with this part. Let's try to go a little bit faster. Love the variety of this glass. We're making this, just as a reminder to you guys, My friend Rima, who is right here on the page, she has a friend who is going through a tough time right now. And so we're making this sweet little pink heart special for her so that she knows that she is loved and cared for. So we hope that it brings her some bit of joy in her sweet life. Isn't it cute? I love it too. So we're almost where we can wiggle some things around. Okay, so now what I want to do, whoa, Nelly. That ain't cool. Hang on, I gotta make sure I'm straight. Now what I wanna do, I've got all my glass covered, but I wanna make sure I have some stuff underneath. So I'm just gonna start picking up a couple of pieces. I'm gonna start down here at the bottom. I'm gonna make sure there's a little bit of resin on the underside on that canvas. And I'm gonna smear it around on my little pieces. I need to start from the top, I think, because some of these are double layered. So I'm gonna start up here. So I wanna make sure I have resin on the canvas. That way the edges will stick down, and I also wanna make sure I have resin on both sides of my glass. This just will ensure that everything holds together nicely. Now you don't have to do this with all these art pieces that we do, but for something like this, when you're using a lot of kind of curved vase glass, you just want to, oh, that would be really cute. You just want to make sure that everything is covered and all the edges are touching. So I'm going to scooch that back. I'm going to scooch this back in. Let me see. I need to scooch that back out a little bit. There we go. So I'm just going to start working around, making sure I can see resin on my canvas. Yeah, you could, but you know, it would be, I've actually tried to do that way, and you do have about 45 minutes open time, but you know, it took me probably a good 35 minutes to figure out all my pieces, Richard. And I didn't want to, you don't want to resin pieces you're not going to use. So it was easier for me personally to just lay them out and then do it this way. But you could totally just resin the background and then take all your pieces and resin them individually as you lay them on. But you really kind of want to know what you're doing before you get started. So I'm weird that way. What can I say? Just want to make sure everything. That's just double work, Sally. We are gluing them. This is kind of, we're using this as kind of our glue. And, you know, I don't want to have to glue them and resin them. And I want to make sure I have resin underneath so that all of our edges are stuck down. Get this piece. Yeah, I mean, you could have, but you know, it would still be this same process. So you would have to do the gluing exactly the way I'm doing the resin right now. So like I said, it was just kind of, in my opinion, I mean, guys, I would love for you to do a piece and tell me how you did it. If it's an easier thing, but for me personally, this was just as easy as, because you got to do the same process of gluing down as what I'm doing now. So I don't know. I'm a learner too. So if y'all can find a better way, I'm all in knowing all the details. See, I've wiggled them enough that now I need to replace a couple of pieces because I have gaps now. So we're going to add a few things. let's see. I'm gonna put this one here. I'm not the master now. I learn just like you guys, trial and error a lot of times. I'm gonna wipe the dust off of that. You know, I am a student too. So I'm just gonna stick a few pieces. Oh yeah, and I wanna put another piece down here. See, and now I've got messy, sticky hands too. But I think I found just the right piece. Let me wipe it off. Put a little resin. Oh, look. Look at that. Okay, now let me peek at it. I need to stand up and look at it and see. Oh, Brandy, thank you. Oh, that is so super cute. I do see a little gapper I need to fill in. We can't have no gaps up in here. So I'm gonna take a small piece. I'm gonna wipe it off. We'll get a little resin on it. And I didn't use a fraction of that resin I mixed, guys. I mean, I way mixed too much. So I'm gonna have to make something else before I retire. But I want one more piece. See how hard this is? See, it's like I'm now digging through my glass pile with resiny hands. I'm gonna put that right there. Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on. I see a dog hair or a cat hair or something. Okay, I love it. So now what I'm gonna do is just add a little bit of resin around the edges. And then I'm gonna tell you exactly how much resin it took because it wasn't near what I mixed. I'm gonna add a little bit right on top again. It's called insurance, just to make sure everything is stuck down nicely. This is so cute, guys. You can wiggle it around a little bit, move a few pieces here and there. So I'm going to use my fingers to just spread that resin that I just drizzled onto the flats of my canvas. So I'm just going to spread that out. I like it to be covered really nice and completely. There's a little something, something. Now you can use a brush to do this part if you want to. I usually just use my hands because sometimes brushes will leave like little brush hairs in your piece and you won't see them until the piece is dry and then you're sad. And we don't want you to be sad. A white space right there. See, it's upside down so I can't see. So let me see. Is it right there? Right here? Yes, I think so. Let me find something. I think this will do. So let's put a little something on it. See if we can fill that gap. How's that? That work? See, I'm looking at it from a different angle than you, so I don't see everything you see. Okay, but I think that did it. Yay! Okay, now I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna pop my gloves off really quick. And I wanna do that carefully because I have a good bit of resin on my fingers and I don't wanna slop that up in my own face. So be very careful removing those gloves and pull them inside each other like that. So you don't get resin all over yourself. So now I'm just gonna turn because I don't have resin on my sides because I was super cautious. So I'm gonna turn it towards me so that I can get a look-see and see. I see another small gap. So I'm gonna be bad and just use my fingers. Don't do what I do. And I'm gonna put that right there. Now I got ick on my fingers. Soap and water. But honestly, guys, you need to work with gloves on. Don't do what I just did. You need to make sure you keep the resin off your skin. It is non-hazmat, non-VOC, the art resin is, but some people can be allergic to it anyway, and I don't want anybody fussing saying, well, you touched it, why can't I? So yeah, don't do what I just did. I'm a bad girl for doing that. So I am just gonna push this up a little, and oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna turn it back around. Fix that. I'm gonna turn it back around so you can see. Oh, I love her. So now we're gonna do our last step. Before we do that, I wanna tell you that I mixed 4 ounces of resin and we used an ounce. 1 ounce of resin for a 10 by 10 vase glass heart. That is spectacular resin usage. So now I totally have to make something else. So now what I'm gonna do is use my handy dandy blowtorch. Yes, my propane torch. You don't have to use something this big. Yes, and I actually have, I like these too. They're just wet wipes. So I'm gonna actually do that really quick so I don't get my, sticky hands on my torch. And then make sure you just wash your hands with soap and water. I like that orange soap that like mechanics use. That's really good for getting resin off your hands too. So now I'm gonna use my blowtorch, and let's talk about blowtorching. You don't have to use this big monstrosity that I have. You can use like a small creme brulee torch, or even a heat gun if you have one. So what I'm gonna do is fire up my torch. Hey Walker, thank you love. And there are a couple things I want to tell you about using a blowtorch or any heat source on your resin. Number 1 is you want to keep your torch moving at all times. Whatever your heat source is, you don't want to stop moving and focus on one certain spot. If you think you need to spread something around, use your stick, not your heat. You want to keep your torch moving constantly. See how I'm not stopping? My hands are just moving. The second thing is never let the flame of the torch touch your resin. That will burn the resin and cause you to have a yellow spot in a few weeks. It'll look beautiful today, and then in about a week or 2, you might have a big yellow spot pop up where you burned it because you let that flame touch. It's the heat from the torch that pops the bubbles, not the fire. So only get close enough that the flame doesn't touch. Debbie, you could use a blow dryer on low air, high heat, but sometimes those things are so strong that they will push your glass around. So you have to kind of be careful with that, and it doesn't work quite as good as a blowtorch or one of those creme brulee torches. You can get one of those creme brulee ones at a kitchen store or even on Amazon for really cheap. They're like 14 bucks, I think. So you could use a hair dryer if that's all you have access to. But if you're gonna do more than 1 or 2 pieces, I would definitely invest in the creme brulee baby torch. So there's all that I have and got good results. Yes. You've used a hair dryer, Richard? Yes, a heat gun would work really great. It's kind of the same process, Sandra. You don't want to focus just on one spot. You want to keep that heat source moving at all times because you don't want to burn your resin, because it will burn if you hone in on one spot for a minute. It will burn that. So